Hey, it's Brett Martin with Mom and Pop Business Funding. I want to say hi to all of you and let you know that I'm getting a lot of questions via email, as is my staff, our national sales managers especially, about what kind of files we're looking to approve, where the low-lying fruit is, what are the best business types to go after, that type of thing. So I thought I'd just sit here with a little bit of water. A lot of you, I don't produce saliva, and just talk to you a little bit about, kind of our matrix, our underwriting, and a little bit about what kind of files we like and what kind of business types we like in regards to what goes smoothest. So first and foremost, pay attention to businesses that are busy. You got to pay attention to businesses that are busy. So, as an example, if you go down to a small little mom and pop shop in your local little mom and pop mall with an anchor tenant out in the parking lot like Wells Fargo or, Sherry's or something like that, and that little mall has that one or two clients in there or business owners in there out of 8, 10 business owners, where there's always turnover, like a baseball card shop or a quilting shop, and they're open 2 nights a week, or a sports memorabilia shop or a knitting shop. They're open 2 nights a week, this type of thing. Those type of companies are really difficult for us to fund. Now, home-based companies like Avon and Amway, people who do $100 a month, $200 a month, those companies are really hard for us to fund. We're looking for businesses that are busy doing business every day, like a bowling alley or a gas station with a convenience store or a daycare. It could be a home ran daycare. It could be, a big daycare out there that's like a big corporate daycare. Those are great businesses. We love adult care facilities. We love healthcare, doctors, dentists, all the practices that go along with that, like ophthalmology. And think about the breakdown of each one of these types of doctors. Don't just think medical, but think about ophthalmology. Think about podiatry. Think about orthopedics. And you can send flyers out to those specific company types. And believe me, they're just home runs for you, because those companies are busy being busy all the time. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a business that's busy being busy. Now, when people first start with us, people are always handing in files that the gross revenue is $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month. What do I mean by gross revenue? Like in your own bank account. Let's say that you look at your end of the month statement for December or November, most recently, or October, and you ran through, $1,200 in your bank account, $1,500 in your bank account. That'd be the gross revenue that came through your bank account, okay? And no different than a business owner. If a business owner is doing $1,200 a month, $1,500 a month, $1,800 a month, $2,000 a month, come on, folks. When you put on the application, they're looking for $1 million, you got to know better than that. Look, I talked about it in class. We go up to 2 times the gross monthly revenue. So if they're doing $1,200 a month or $1,000 a month, let's use whole numbers, $1,000 a month, and we go up to 2 times that gross monthly revenue, the maximum loan amount we could do is $2,000. So make no mistake about it. You got to just take a look and take charge and say to yourself, this is probably a file I don't want to hand in. And more than likely, it has to do with the fact that on that file, you're not going to make a very big commission. Good Lord, think about it. But we try to look at files as low as $2,500, but we really prefer that file to be grossing, that business owner to be grossing at least $4,000 a month, maybe $5,000 a month. And then you're going to see our minimum loan amount typically on a file like that of about $2,600. And that's typically our minimum loan amount. It's what we call our starter loan. It's for a company that has a very small gross revenue coming in, a very small number of deposits coming in, all right? I can tell you right now that I kid you not, I swear to you that you're gonna work far more and it's gonna be far more difficult for you to get a file closed with a business owner that's doing $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 a month than a business that is grossing $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million a month. Those companies, believe it or not, it doesn't sound right in your head, but they're looking for money all the time, all the time, all the time. They're looking for money for expansion. They're in a position oftentimes where they can't cover quarterly taxes or maybe can't make payroll. A bump in the road, like maybe a key employee quits, like president, and she or he or they, that team, the president, the vice president, take 12 employees with them when they go and they start their own real estate firm. That hurts a real estate company. And we see that quite frankly often, very often, that what's happening is that the business owners are reaching out to you, ladies and gentlemen, and saying, hey, I need a loan. And when we look at the revenue, it's like, gee, many crickets, the revenues drop down to 50%, 75%, 25% of what it once was just a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And that really hurts your chances of getting those high loan amounts. Because what we like is we like a flat, even, consistent 6 months. Every single month they bring in $10,000 a month. Every single month they bring in $15,000 a month. Every single month they bring in $25,000 a month. Every single month they bring in $38,000 a month. Every single month they bring in $1 million a month, 6 months in a row. That's a file where you're going to get $1 million offer. That's a file. Those are files where you're going to get 2 times their gross monthly revenue, where every month they come in at the exact same amount, $50,000 a month, $38,000 a month. $38,000 a month times 2, $76,000. Guaranteed they're going to get that approval for that loan amount. So what you think about is what businesses, what industry types out of all those industry types on Reference Solutions that's available to you through your local library that I've introduced to all of you, what business types are consistent? What business types don't dip and go through highs and lows? I mean, come on, think about it. If this business is in the Hamptons, make no mistake about it, they're only open about 3 to 4 months out of the year. And then they close the shutters and they go into a seasonal aspect of their lives or portion of their lives. And so that's an inconsistent business. And those types of businesses really scare our business model. So we're looking for a consistent business, your local gas station, your local bowling alley, your local roofing company. I mean, roofers are out there, they're busy going on like mad. They're doing a ton of work during the summer to get those roofs done and get them replaced. And then in the winter, what are they doing? They're repairing them. So they're busy all the time. Contractors, all types of contractors are busy all the time. Restaurants are busy all the time. Most of your manufacturing facilities are busy all the time. And these are things, we just don't see hotel and motel loans from you folks. We just don't see manufacturing facility loans from you folks. We just don't see daycare facilities and adult care facilities and foster care facilities. We just don't see this from you folks. And those are businesses for me that, believe me, folks, those were the low-lying fruit. No matter what, they're going to make a ton of money. B, they're going to be very consistent, which means they get our best foot forward, best terms, highest loan amount, longest length of period, lowest cost of money, APR, factor rate, whatever you want to call it, interest rate. And as opposed to that business that's like this, and it's got 3 owners and they're fighting with each other, and you got a low number of deposits, 2 deposits a month out of 20 to 21 days of deposit days available to you Monday through Friday, or available to the business owner each month. And then on top of it, they've got a very low ending daily balance available, and they've got a very low ending balance available at the end of the month. This scares the crap out of our business model, okay? So, someone reached out here today and made the comment to me, I'd like to be in a situation where what I could do, Brett, is approach business owners, so certain types of business owners, so I know they're not going to default, so that it's not going to hurt your company and you're going to take my commission back. First off, I make it very clear in class, we're the only company in the industry, we don't take your commissions back. So don't worry about that. And as far as the company defaulting out there, not making their payments to us, let us worry about that. Don't you worry about that. You're going to get your commission. What do you care? I mean, you really shouldn't care. Look, I adore the fact that you sent me an email, sir, and said that you care, but at the bottom line is just stay busy, get out there, get busy, quit thinking about this so much, quit overthinking, and understand you're driving by these businesses every day, whether it be on public transit, whether it be on highways or byways or local thoroughfares, or if you go down into these restaurant districts, in Miami as an example, Chicago, Illinois as an example, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, San Diego, Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth. The list goes on. And these major cities where they've got these business districts, that's where you're going to want to go. And I can tell you right now that these business owners have have these really successful companies that are grossing a lot of revenue. What you have to understand is they just have more problems. Rather than a company with 2 employees, they've got a company with 20 employees or 200 employees or 2,000 employees. Believe me, they've just got that much more headache and that much more responsibility. I apologize there, I'm burping. I apologize. But those people, like myself as an example, the amount of debt that we have, I've got to keep my eyes and ears open. I mean, the 5 senses that are available to me, smell, touch, feel, or smell and touch and sight and hearing and taste, I've got to keep those 5 senses just glued right to the ground at all time. Where are we at? Where are we at? How are we doing? How are we doing? I'm talking to my bean counters, like my CPAs. I'm talking to my financial side in regards to my attorneys. I'm always looking at ourselves as from the COO standpoint, my comptrollers, all 3 of them. Where are we at? What do we need to cover? Inevitably, I'm constantly involved in an environment where people are saying to me on my staff, hey, we need 13 million bucks, or hey, we need, 71 million bucks, or hey, we need 4 million bucks. Where do we get it? Well, thank God I've got it sitting around, but it's not in our bank account. I got to go get it from somewhere else and bring it in to us. But most of these business owners don't have the luxury of doing that. And so that comptroller, not controller, but C-O-M-P, troller, says, hey, by the way, my forecasting tells us we need $178,000. They're talking to the CFO, they're talking to the CEO, the partner, or the president, or the partners, and it's like, somebody cough up $178,000, and that's where you come in. They answer your ad because you're willing to be in a situation where you're willing to call on or contact or make contact with manufacturing facilities downtown. Manufacturing facilities in rural areas. Don't forget about welders. Don't forget about manufacturing facilities. I mean, these facilities are just crazy how busy they are. Water companies. You can't believe the growth when it comes to water delivery. Water delivery is an industry that is just, it's growing like mad. They're purchasing each other right and left. And so that's another great market. It's funny how one of you will bring in a certain type of business, and then the next thing you know, you'll bring in that same type of business again, like, a water delivery company running around these big 18-wheel looking vehicles that are a little shorter and stubby and all painted with graphics on them, and they deliver water to offices, as an example. You bring one in, it funds, the next thing you know, you find 4, 5, 6 more. It's so funny how it ends up being. Like, someone here recently brought in a golf course. We hadn't had a golf course in like 6 months, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, same person brought in 3 more golf courses. This person ought to be in a situation where 6 months from now, they're bringing in 30 golf courses. Annually, they ought to bring in 100, 200, 300 golf courses. But what's funny is, more often than not, what people do is they change, and now they go over here and they start working on this type of business, or they just take whatever they can get versus target marketing. So don't be afraid to target market. Don't be afraid to pick a market and become a specialist in that market. I mentioned bowling alleys here a little bit ago. We had a guy die, an Oriental gentleman die. I think it's been about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5, 4 years ago. And I had no soul living heir. He had no heirs living. And this guy would bring in 10 bowling alleys a month like it was going out of style. I mean, he did this day in and day out for 4 years. I don't ever talk about bowling alleys. I mean, the reason I don't talk about something like just bowling alleys is the next thing you know, everyone's going after bowling alleys or gas stations or, adult care facilities, not realizing there's 752 different types of businesses, and you can go after any of those. But what I'd highly recommend is think in your brain, sit outside that business, even if you're not there physically, but just look at it and say to yourself, you go to the convenience store like a 7-Eleven, but it's not a 7-Eleven, it's a local market. And you just see these cars coming in and out all day, in and out all day, in and out all day. I mean, these waters, this Cascade water now, $3.24 at the co-op. I think I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, 10 of them. I bought 10 of them. These are convenience items now. You go in the store, you buy a bottle of water at a Chevron gas station, at a Texaco or a Sinclair gas station, and you pick up a bottle of water, or you grab a candy bar. These convenience items. Maybe you live in that neighborhood, and then on top of it, you get the gallon of milk that your wife forgot to get, your husband forgot to get, your partner forgot to get, or your kid forgot to get, or you forgot to get yourself when you went to the big box store. Now you're going to pay $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 a gallon for a carton of milk in there, or a plastic jug of milk. I mean, those markets, some of you should just go after markets in general with gas stations, convenience stores, and gas stations, what we call C-stores. I mean, we used to have an entire division that was just specifically, we had specific website for gas stations only, just like we had a specific website for marijuana and cannabis only. And eventually, as we got busy with those products, it was just like, it's just another product. It's just another business type. So, if I was to say to you anything, I would say, don't get caught up in thinking about anything other than what type of businesses am I drawn to? And then B, is that type of business a business that's busy? And C, if it is busy, then get started and work on that business. Many of you have heard me say that when I was marketing full time, I would pick a specific industry and work that industry for the whole week. And then I'd go into Sunday night, I'd pick another industry, and Monday morning I'd start in and I'd work in that next industry for the whole week. Maybe it was hotels and motels one week, then salons the next week. Then I might go after dentists the following week. Then I might go after adult care facilities after that. I mean, the list goes on and on. We rarely get hotels and motels. And like I talked about last week in class with the new people in class, I think I may have brought this up at the Monday morning eye-opener, is that they have to remodel these hotels on a constant basis. Some of the motels, but all of the hotels, if they're name brands, they have to be remodeled constantly. And the interesting thing about it, believe it or not, you're almost penalized or penalized if your business is busy as a hotel. Because the busier the hotel, the more the wear and tear on the hotel or the motel. And so that's how they figure at the corporate level, the franchisor, the people who franchise the business, that's how they're able to say, look, we've had X amount of people in this room, in this bed, now you need to remodel, okay? And believe me, they keep very good tabs on this stuff. I mean, it's not very often, other than maybe a Comfort Inn or a, Motel 6 or a Super 8, where you don't see hotels nowadays that are actually really nice. I mean, I had to laugh the other day. I heard some guy talking to me who didn't know a damn thing about Howard Hughes. Hall Tool, think about Hall Tool. This guy was one of the wealthiest people that ever lived on the face of the planet at one time. You ever get a chance, look up the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio plays the character. And they've got Howard Hughes coined as this absolute weirdo. And I could tell you, folks, to be real honest with you, I ate and drank and breathed his materials for well over a couple years, and he wasn't the freak that people said he was. I mean, he just wasn't. I mean, he was misunderstood in a hell of a lot of ways, I could tell you that. But make no mistake about it, the aeronautics industry, the airplane industry, tremendous industry, and he was in that industry. And it's one of the reasons why I was drawn to the industry. Was we were down in McMinnville, Oregon one day, and I saw the Spruce Goose, which was, at the time, was the largest plane that was ever made. And he had a contract with this corporation, with the government, to make a large number of these planes. And this thing basically never really got off the ground, but just a little bit, in a bay or an inlet area. But anyway, airline industry. Don't forget about the airline industry. This is a tremendous industry, and a lot of these companies are independent. A lot of your travel agencies are independent. So another great industry. Okay. Now, today I was in class talking to a lady about it, and she brought up the fact that, hey, Brett, I see that this company here, this type of business here, I forget what one it was, is a little more difficult, or it says more difficult to underwrite. What does that mean? Well, or difficult industry, she said. And I said, look, it just takes us a little more time to underwrite it. That's all. It's not as though it's, hey, stay out of there. So, sometimes I think that you should be drawn to the light, to the fire, and go after those businesses. I mean, I can tell you right now, there's not a marijuana company in the country that we don't like. We're gonna loan to cannabis. We're gonna loan to CBD companies. we're gonna loan the hemp companies. It's as simple as that. Just like we're gonna loan to companies that change tires. If you got a company that changes tires, we're gonna loan to them. They're busy. If you're gonna bring in a gas station, we're gonna loan to them. Simple as that. A daycare facility, an adult daycare facility, an adult care facility, old folks retirement home, we're going to lend to them. It's as simple as that. So carpet manufacturers, carpet installers, roofers, electrical companies, glass companies, landscapers. We friggin' love landscapers. And the beauty of landscapers, they're going to always catch you off guard. You got these little 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 man shops, and these people are bringing in bucks. At least 25,000 to 50,000 to 75, 80,000 a month. And I guarantee you that they're going to get 1.5 to 2 times that offered to them in loan amount. So they're doing 50,000 a month. I guarantee you that we're going to give them 75,000 to $100,000 loan amount. And believe me, folks, those eat really, really well. Financially speaking, when you land 3, 4, 5 of those a month, and you people have heard me say this before, we have no problem at all going off sheet. Yes, we pay you 5% on the first 2 loans, but think about it. You're a pain in the ass for your first 2 loans. That's why we take more, because we're working our ass off with you at that time, and you're getting your education. But I can tell you right now, I've seen people bring in their next 4, 5, 6, 7 loans, and we do not fund them at 7% in commissions. We'll go up to 10%. We'll go up to 12%. And then right after that, I guarantee you we're going to go up to 15% on commissions. Now, you start funding a loan that's a $100,000 loan at 15% and start making 15 grand, that's a lot of money. I don't give a damn what you tell me. You do 5 of those a month, you're making $75,000 a month. That's a lot of money. That's a hell of a lot of money. Someone said to me the other day, it was like, well, whining to me. Well, I have to do 100 loans to make $1 million a month. Like, really? Are you kidding me? I mean, 1 loan at $1 million at 7% pays you $70,000. You take $70,000, 1 loan, times 12, and you're talking $840,000 annually. For Christ's sake, start thinking about it for a moment. Use your head. Do the math. 1 loan, $1 million funding, pays you $84,000 at 7%. $70,000. $70,000. Now you take $70,000 times 12, that's where I get that $840,000 mark. So it doesn't take a lot of volume for you to make $1 million a year. We just have this preordained mindset, predestined mindset that it's hard to make $1 million a year. You're damn right it's hard to make $1 million a year if you make $10 an hour. Do you realize the average employee working at your local steakhouse, like an Outback, making minimum wage? Let's use a whole number. Let's use $20 an hour. There's only 40 hours a week on average that they're getting paid. Most employers are actually only paying 38, 39 hours, 36 hours, because they don't want to pay benefits to include vacation and health insurance. So they underpay on the amount of hours that they give them. But if they're working 40 hours a week times 12 months, that's only 2,080 hours a year. At $20 an hour, these people are only making 50 grand a year, for God's sakes. That's nothing. Think of the amount of time that they're working for that amount of money. My God, folks. There are people in this industry that are making that in a day, making that daily. And yet some of you are out there trying to figure out how the hell to land your first loan. Well, hey, listen, try dreaming a little bit larger. There was a great book written by Spencer Johnson. You've heard about the 1-minute manager, but look up the 1-minute salesperson and understand that the whole premise of the book is just, I'm not going to ruin it. Grab the book, read the book. My God, it's so small you can run a Calgon bath or sit on the toilet and take a dump, and the next thing you know, you've read the book. But all of a sudden you start to realize it's like, look, I'm cutting myself short by trying to figure out, who may do business with me. What do you mean you're trying to figure out who may do business with you? You got 100 million businesses in America right now that may do business with you. I always get a kick when I get an email from someone and they're like, I got this guy and I'm thinking about giving him a yell. I'm pretty sure he might do something with us. And it's like, what about the other 100 million businesses in America? I don't know why it is, but I've always got at least, I would say 20 to 25% of the people that graduate that first 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks till they get a little momentum going. They're like, I've been thinking about this friend of mine. I've been thinking about this neighbor of mine. I've been thinking about this guy I know. And it's like, oh, for Christ's sake, stop. Look, first and foremost, let's understand one another. Look at me. I'm going to get closer. Don't work with your friend or your neighbor on the first loan or two, because you're just going to screw it up and you're going to lose your friend. You're going to lose your neighbor. So go after someone you don't know. That way, if you screw up, you don't have egg in your face. And the funny part about it is, what do I mean by screwing up? What do I mean by that? Well, hey, listen, I could tell you what you're going to do. I did it myself 40 years ago, 35 years ago. Overpromise and underdeliver. Not underpromise and overdeliver. You're going to overpromise and you're going to underdeliver. And you're going to have egg on your face. They're going to be upset with you. They're going to say things like, I thought you said I was going to get 10 grand. I thought you said I was going to get $1 million. I thought you said I was going to get 50 grand. It's like, we had someone who reached out today. One of you probably going to be able to see this video tonight. And I know that you're going to read it and you're going to say, you're talking about me, but you reached out and you made the comment to me. It was something along the lines of, God, I lost my frame of mind, but it was in regards to, and you said to me, this lady, one of you said to me, this business owner is a business owner who did really well last year. And so I told him it was okay for us to take those statements. We didn't need those most recent statements. I assured him everything would be okay with that. And it's like, where did you get that? I'm always doing everything I can in class to reiterate all 4 days that we need the most recent 6-month bank statements. We don't care what they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. We don't have any interest in that whatsoever. We're looking at what's trending now. That's what we're really looking at. So anyway, I don't have a lot more to say to you. It's hard for you to be in a situation, I think, where you're looking at, well, geez, Brett, I want to know how many deposits they're making. They're making a month, and it's like, I own the company. And I'm the guy that was out there, the top producer in the industry, and I can't figure that out. Other than I could tell you that you're going to have a higher likelihood of a hotel making, 20 to 21 deposits a month versus a company that's only open a couple days a week or a couple nights a week for 2 or 3 hours. So look for those types of companies where that revenue is coming in every single solitary day. And I can tell you this, that's the business owner who's typically addicted to this, like smack. And what's happening is they're in a situation where they're pulling out this wallet and they're grabbing this card and they're spending and they're spending and they're spending. And where do we see them? We see them at the tapas bar. We see them at the gambling hall. We see them at the Chinese food restaurants, very common, and they're in there gambling. Or we actually see them in Vegas or in Reno and they're gambling. Okay, this is very common. You know, when business owners are in a situation where they have a business that's producing very consistent cash flow for 5 years, 5 months, 10 years, 15 years, they become very used to that, and then they set their debt load up accordingly. Now they not only have a boat they're servicing that they're paying for each month, but they've got a plane. On top of it, they've got, 2 SUVs, one for each of the people, of the partners, or the husband and the wife. The guy, the gal. They got the kids, 2 kids, and they've got to have the best cars. And then on top of it, it's kind of like my Craigslist day when I kind of have you dream with me. They're smoking cigars. They're at the distillery, or they're at home drinking that bottle of whiskey. I mean, my God, you can't find a good quality bottle of whiskey out there right now, or bourbon out there that doesn't seem to cost you at least 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks. And this stuff adds up. It adds up really quickly when you have all these addictions, all these habits where you're spending money. So anyway, think about yourself. If you're broke, it's hard for you to think that others may be broke also. I mean, one of the drills I do when I'm out there and I'm marketing with people is I'll stop my vehicle, my rental vehicle, or my RV if we're in my RV, and I'll say, hey, let's just stop for a moment and think for a minute. What do you think that pizza parlor owner is doing right now? What do you think that gas station owner is doing right now with that convenience store? What do you think that bowling alley owner is doing right now? What do you think that gigantic building with 150, 200 cars in front of it, that manufacturing facility or that shipping facility, trucking company, what do you think that owner is doing right now? And I always hear this stuff that is, boating, camping, at the beach, on vacation, overseas, skiing, snowmobiling, and it's like, yeah, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself. No one on the face of the planet parties more like a rock star than people who are hourly wage. They're the ones that party like rock stars. These business owners, they're servicing a ton of debt. And I can tell you, I know grown men,